you, Gurshan. Thank you for inviting us. Farhad, thank you. It is a great opportunity for us. It's a pleasure for me to see you again, personally. Welcome everybody to our round table. What are we going to do actually is to present you our project proposal about the European energy security, the Southern Gas Corridor and conventional gas revolution. As a premise, I would like to press that we will not deliver the answers here. We will describe the context, main energy trends, and what we expect from today's meeting and discussion is kind of receive from your feedback on what we are going to present here. So rather we will make our own research questions, encouraging then the discussions on them. Our presentation will be divided between me and Niccolo, so I will pass then myself the floor to Niccolo. So we will begin with European energy security after, it's optimistic, but yes, in view of Ukrainian crisis. So what are the contexts we have right now is that the Russian annexion of the Crimea and an ongoing crisis, military conflict in Ukraine has moved the European gas supplies to the forefront of the European Union's debate on how to diversify its sources and its energy resources. As Ukraine is and remains a key transit country for the energy shipments, Russian energy shipments towards Europe. Therefore, Europe needs to diversify its gas supplies, and indeed, on this regard, the new European energy security strategy proposed by the Commission points out that the disruption of the 2006-2009, as well as the ongoing crisis in Ukraine, should be like a wake-up call for Europe. So the aim is a deeper engagement for the common energy policy, even if some EU member states are more vulnerable than others. Indeed, the strategy pressed that in the spirit of the European solidarity, the states more exposed to Russian dependence should be supported by the EU, and the political assistance should be guaranteed to those states. In this regard, in February 2015, the European Commission has introduced a proposal on energy union aimed to harmonize the energy systems of the member states and to introduce solidarity mechanisms to deal with the emerging problems in the energy sector. But there are main challenges to the energy diversification on this way. One of the challenges are realization of the new infrastructure and interconnectors. And the infrastructure, we mean new pipelines and ports equipped for ships carrying liquefied natural gas. Another challenge is advancement and finalization of the Southern Gas Corridor and definition and implementation of a common position toward the Turkish Stream project as a possible substitute for the South Stream pipeline, and ability of the EU to push Gazprom to adapt the EU's rules of competition and open Russian energy sector to outside investments. The first challenge is exploration and development of the alternative energy resources such as shale gas. Coming now to the Southern Gas Corridor, we know that the establishment and the development of the Southern Gas Corridor, providing the resources from the Caspian region and eventually from the Middle East, is a key pillar of the European energy security. In its initial phase, Southern Gas Corridor is supposed to provide like a 10 BCM gas by 2020 through TANAP and TAP pipelines. In long term, also natural gas from the East Mediterranean, and we mean here Cyprus and Israel, and Turkmenistan, Iraq, and Iran could contribute to the corridor. Now, there are also challenges around the Southern Gas Corridor. We have one short-term challenge, and this is to get an environmental authorization from the Italian government. The TAPIA consortium is expecting. And then we have the long-term challenge, expanding the corridor also to the other EU states more vulnerable and more dependent on Russian gas, and I mean the Central East European state. And then there is a new and additional volumes of gas. In this respect, two different developments have we in this period. And one of these is a joint declaration of the Azeri and Bulgarian governments to revive the Nabucco West projects. It was designed to carry Azerbaijani gas from Turkey-Bulgarian border to Austria through Romania and Hungary. And the second proposal is of Slovak gas transmission company, Stream, to establish the project East Ring that aims to connect Eastern and Southeastern European pipeline network with the Western European ones. Particularly, it would use already existing transmission capacities of Slovakia, Bulgaria, Romania, and Hungary. Instead of construction of new pipeline system from scratch compared to Nabucco project, for instance, it is expected that the pipeline's technical capacity should be 20 BCM in the first phase and up to 30 BCM in its final stage, providing multi-directional flow of gas. Now, since its launch in 2007, South Stream has been perceived in Europe as Russia's tools consolidate its monopoly, its power over the Central and East European markets. As the fighting in Ukraine intensified, the EU started to look for options to decrease its vulnerability in energy sector. The G7 energy ministers meeting in May 2014, the G7 meeting held in Brussels in June, as well as the publication of the European Energy Security Strategy, all expressed strong concern about Russia's behavior and the energy vulnerability of the Central and Eastern Europe. In this context of skepticism towards Moscow, pushed also by Brussels and Washington, at the same time, EU member states such as Bulgaria decided to reconsider their collaboration with Gazprom and Russia and decided to stop construction of the South Stream on its territory. Then we remember that Russian President Vladimir Putin used his visit in Ankara in December 2014 in order to announce that he was stopping the construction of South Stream and was launching a new project, Turkish Stream, that will come from Russia to Turkey and bring 63 BCM of gas, 14 BCM for Turkey for its internal use, and the rest 49 eventually for Europe. Furthermore, Russia hinted that it maybe will not prolong the transit contract with Ukraine after 2019. This means that Europe will have no other choice than to purchase the gas from the Turkish Stream, from the Turkish-Greek, from the southern border. This again gives Gazprom the possibility to manipulate with the prices, to play with the gas volumes, and then again we have the problem that the project lies outside of the EU territory, what will allow Gazprom to avoid the execution of the EU regulations. Up until now, the Turkish position regarding Turkish Stream is a bit unclear. Yes, the energy minister declared that the priority goes to TANAP, but still the future of the Turkish Stream, the position of the Turkish government, is that it's not clear. Okay, so bearing this context in mind, and now the objective of the project will first analyze the European energy security of the Ukrainian crisis and its policy of the gas supply diversification. Here, particular attention will be paid to the Southern Gas Corridor and the EU's position towards the Russian-led Turkish Stream pipeline as a substitute for the South Stream. Additionally, as Nicola said, the shale gas development in the US and the possibility of its replication in East Europe will be examined in order to evaluate the impact of such a development on energy relations between Russia and Eastern European consumers, such as Poland, Ukraine, Bulgaria, Romania, and Hungary. We will assess also Russian strategy towards the European diversification policy, towards China, and more recently towards Turkey. The aim will be also to assess the positions of the energy stakeholders, state and non-state, private sector, on all energy initiatives aiming at diversification of the supplies and resources. Any initiative will be evaluated in light of both national strategic interest and business calculations of private sectors. And here we would like to introduce three blocks of questions also for the roundtable, for your considerations. So the main questions here are: what are the main challenges for the future European energy security stemming from the ongoing Ukrainian crisis? What are the perspectives of the creation of an energy union for Europe's action in the security of supply demand? In particular, what are the possibilities and limitations of the EU to engage with the new gas producers in a serious political dialogue and to do so with a unique voice? How far is possible to enhance in Europe existing energy infrastructure and especially to build new interconnectors such as Nabucco West or East Stream? What is the future of Turkish Stream in light of the crisis in Ukraine? Will the decision to suspend the realization of South Stream and introduction of Turkish Stream as an alternative reinforce the strategic value of the Southern Gas Corridor? Are the two projects anyway incompatible? What is the national strategy of Russia as a main producer in the region to deal with the EU's diversification policy as well as with the US shale gas boom? In view of possible replication of the success of the US shale gas production in East Europe, would Moscow and Gazprom reconsider their energy rationale to their traditional destination markets? How do European stakeholders, including the EU, national governments, and mostly in Central and East Europe, the energy companies evaluate the risk and opportunities emerging from the development of the Southern Gas Corridor of Turkish Stream, as well as the possible exploitation of the shale gas? What are the strategies of national governments in order to increase their internal gas production? Do they intend to remove regulatory barriers for successful shale gas development? In view of this newly emerging reality, how do they intend to change the terms of negotiations with Russia on natural gas imports? So these are the main questions, a lot of questions of the research projects that will run during the 2 years, and it foresees the creation of the research networks, including the researchers from Azerbaijan, from Italy, from Europe, from the US. It will produce a series of working papers that will be discussed in framework of workshops and international conferences, and the results of these projects then will be finally published in a joint volume of Istituto Affari Internazionali Center for Strategic Studies, hopefully after 2 years. And hopefully we will be here again in Baku in order to present our joint product, inshallah.